Hello, my loves. Hello, everybody. Oh, my goodness. How are we feeling? What is the vibe? Can you guys hear me? Hopefully, everyone can hear me. Okay. Jesh is here. Nemo is here. Oh, I love that name. Blaine says, hi, everyone. Hello. Okay, Wendy Young says, oh my gosh, I can't even with the vibe. Yeah, it's definitely a vibe this afternoon. Emily Banks is giving smiley face. I love it. Rachel says, hello. Good to see you guys. Let me know if everyone can hear me. Just give me a thumbs up. Let me know if we're able to hear me. Just to confirm, family, what's the vibe? I'm seeing some hearts, so that's good. Okay, yeah, you guys can hear me. Oh, wonderful. Okay. Let me take a step back and get the crystal bowls going for you guys, because I literally promised you that we would. And I just felt like with everything going on in the world, let me grab the microphone. With everything going on in the world, I felt that we could really go for some good energies and some good vibes. So as we're kind of letting everybody trickle in and come from wherever they're coming from, I'm going to play a little bit of music and set an intention and bless the space for us, because I'm here for it. Like, that's the vibe. That's what I want. In the meantime, guys, just be totally open if you would like. Keep in mind, I'm no professional at this. And these bowls that I chose today were the ones that I was gravitating towards the most. I have the whole set, but these were the ones that were really speaking to me this afternoon. So I just want to quickly set the intention that those who are meant to be here today, that they're the ones who are here. It is an honor. It is a blessing to be able to hang out and vibe with you once again. Especially those who hang out with me every single week. I know I sound like a broken record, but the gratitude is always so immense and comes from the bottom of my soul. If you think about it, something allowed us to cross paths. Despite time, despite distance, or whatever the case is, something allowed us to cross paths. And that's why we're here today, because our paths were able to align. I truly believe that every single person here has something that they have to offer, that they have to give, or that they can give if they choose to give when they're ready. I set the intention that you have the courage, the heart, in order to be able to share your gift in your life. And I also set the intention that everything in your environment and everything within you is supportive of you and peaceful and loving. I hope that you are generously being provided for and protected. So that sharing your gifts is something that feels authentic and true to you and doesn't deplete you. I also set the intention that the energies, whether they're people, whether they're careers, whether they're decisions and choices that you make in your life, or the environment, the community that you're living in, that it's something that's nourishing to you and supportive of you. Sometimes it can be really hard to find your space in the world where nourishment can be found. I set the intention that you get filled up. I set the intention for clarity, for guidance, discernment, direction, protection. It's going to get a little loud, and then we're going to dive right in to Astro Chat Live, because we have so much to talk about This one particularly is beautiful, I think. Thanks for allowing me to play a little bowl action for you. Oh, yeah. Janisa says, raise your hand if you want more Sound Bowl live hangouts with Jess. Raise your hand. Okay, let me set this mic up so it doesn't make a deafening noise in your ears, because that would be terrible. Guys, tell me how. I'm wearing yoga outfit right now, by the way. So if you see any belly or boobs, you're welcome. But tell me how, guys. I ended up getting this amazing microphone, not this one, but another one. I was so excited to get it plugged in and to talk to you guys. And I think it lasted maybe a month before I broke it. And when I tell you, if that's not something that I do, girl, one thing about me, I'm a break something, especially when it comes to technology. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me with the varying extremes of cameras and microphones. We do the best that we can. And sometimes the best that we can is bare minimum. Literally at best, it is what it is. So I'm just glad that you guys are able to hear me, period. That's all I can ask for at this moment in time. Okay, so thank you guys so much again for joining me for tonight's Astro Chat Live. If you guys are meeting me for the first time, because you're crossing along the internet and you saw that I was live, my name is Jessica Alexandria. I am the creator of Bahati Life Apothecary and Queen Bee Homestead. I'm a professional witch, astrologer, and intuitive, and I also have a homestead, which is where I spend most of my time if I'm not pulling charts or talking to you guys, doing readings, making oils, fixed candles, etc., etc. What we like to do during Astro Chat Live, for the most part, is pretty much hang out. YouTube, though, is very, very tricky. I don't know if you guys have noticed this yet, but YouTube can be so tricky. They don't like when we drop the F-bomb. They don't like when we talk about controversial issues. They don't like when we talk about the truth. They don't like when we're talking about current events. And if that doesn't tell you everything that you need to know, But despite all of that, we do the best that we can. And by we, I mean literally us. Astro Chat Live is very, very communicative, meaning that I love when you guys leave comments. I love when you guys are open and honest with me. I'm always going to be open and honest with you, sometimes too open, sometimes too honest. And with that, there kind of comes, little blips. Sometimes the YouTube gets weird and they try to like cut the live stream off, or certain people or robots and stuff will try and come in and crash the live session. And basically, all I ask is that you continue to stay focused on me. All we have is this 1 hour together. And for me, this hour is something that is very, very powerful, or can be very, very powerful if you set the intention for it. And it honestly goes to show that if you're able to kind of like focus on the message and focus on what you need to receive, then you can technically apply that to every area of your life. Okay, it's a little exercise, but also don't use this in order to create like a make or break situation in your own personal life. It just does kind of like reflect your ability to focus past the noise and get to the meat of what it is that you need to pay attention to. Okay. Quinn Interrupted says, is this live? It absolutely is. I'm going to be responding to you. And having said that, I do love to see I do like to see questions coming in. However, I ask that they not be too personal. And the reason why is because, again, we only have 1 hour to talk, 1 hour to hang out with each other. And in that hour, there's so much to go over. And if I spend too much time engaging in personal questions when it comes to, okay, when is he going to do this? Just when do you see a job offer? When is the best time for me to leave my current position or whatever the case is? I would love to be able to answer those questions for you. That is more of an intimate one-on-one type of reading situation. And right now, this is our time for the collective, just to be able to hang and literally empower ourselves for the week ahead. Because let me tell you, this week is going to be a doozy. Now, one last disclaimer. This is my house, and there's a lot of noise in the background. I've got dogs, I've got chickens. It's literally like a zoo here. There's wild animals that I'm nursing back to life. There's the ice machine. So there's some things that it is that I can't control. But for the most part, it stays pretty peaceful. So I want to go ahead and invite you guys, if you want, to have some tea. Currently, right now, I'm drinking jasmine green tea, which has been giving me so much life. I'm actually towards the very end of it because I was sipping this as I was gathering some notes for you. What was I going to say? Oh my gosh. Okay. Do you guys remember? Now, let me know if you remember this, because I know sometimes I come on here and I'm like a broken record, but if I'm repeating something or I'm finding new ways to say the same thing in different ways, it's because it's important. One thing about me, I'm very efficient. I'm very thorough. I don't actually like to repeat myself. If I find myself repeating things, it's because, literally, mark my words, what I'm seeing within the charts or what I'm seeing within my intuition or what I've channeled, it's going to apply. The message is going to make sense sooner rather than later. I have found in my own journey that the best thing I can do is to not ask any further questions. I totally understand, and I totally get that as an intuitive person, as a spiritual being, as soon as you get like a download of something, as soon as you get a little hint that something is to come or something is currently happening, sometimes the first thing we want to do is jump on it and start ripping it apart in order to find the root of it and to gain more understanding on why this is happening. Number one, because we want to be prepared. But number two, honestly, I feel like as an intuitive, when you get a message or when you get some type of inkling or some type of hint that something is going to happen or something is occurring, it's so exciting because you know that you've tapped into this totally magic, totally rare gift. Honestly, it's rare. I believe that it's rare. I think that many of us are born with these gifts, especially specifically women. But I feel like over time, our society and the way that our communities kind of raise us, everyone's different, but it can really kind of tear away from that intuitive muscle or make you kind of second guess yourself. So having said that, the last few weeks, almost a whole month, I have come on and I've said to you guys, listen, start saving, don't spend crazy, watch your money, keep your eye out for financial institutions. That includes banks, that includes big business, that includes government, politics, all of those things. Not only for most of us here in the US, but all over the world, monarchies, et cetera, all of those things are taken into consideration. There's one thing that's happening within the astrological charts that's been happening for years. It's this energy of what happens over here is going to impact them over here. If you see someone struggling over here, you have to pay attention to their struggle, not because you are, gaining some type of entertainment out of it, or maybe prayers, you want to send prayers, which is all well and good. But the truth is astrologically speaking, that what's impacting one type of group or one specific area is going to impact the whole. One of the major things that we have been talking about, that I have been talking about, is the breakdown of major institutions. And of course, Saturn and Pluto, who have been kind of leading all of this major transformation, are now transiting out of those past signs, or those signs that were doing the most heavy damage. But even as they're entering into the very start, Saturn specifically, even as it's entering into Pisces, the effect of the Saturn and Aquarius transit still lingers, and Pluto is in the final stages of Capricorn. Pluto rules death, transformation, regeneration, rebirth, control, manipulation, all those crazy things. When it's in the final degrees, that's usually when we see kind of the worst. And I say all this to say that, well, I'll say this. I'm saying this to help you to understand what is happening in our planet. I am not saying this to make you fearful, to make you scared, to make you doubt what's going to happen, to make you question in a way that takes away your power. I do not believe that a bad or negative transit is something that would hold us back. I have always found, as a product of a chaotic environment, always chaos growing up. It just was especially as a Virgo, I don't like, if you move my cup from here to there, I don't like that. So imagine anything else, right? So as a product of something that's constantly changing, one thing I personally like to do and that I like to look for, and I give that also to others, is I like to give us enough space, ample room, in order to know what to expect. I don't like surprises. So as I look at the astrological charts, I already know that Pluto and Saturn and Uranus can see something and sense something that even I can't. No matter how intuitive we could ever be, no matter how gifted I could ever be, or you could ever be, there are some things in the divine plan that exceed and extend far beyond our intuitive sense and knowingness. And it's in our best interest, usually, to sit back, to watch, to observe, to learn, and then begin to not react, but hopefully have a plan so that when we see things happening, we're not holding on to them. We're not feeling like we're getting struck down. We actually find inspiration and we find guidance and clarity and direction as far as where we are being led. Because the one thing that we can always expect, the one thing that's constant, is going to be change. It has to be. As living, breathing beings, we have to prepare, we have to plan, we have to expect change. Now, the last few weeks, almost a full month, I've been telling you guys, look towards your finances, start saving, start reserving, start thinking about that, start cutting back on your finances, start paying attention to where your money is going, if your money is even safe there. And earlier this weekend, of course, we started to see the breakdown of banks. I don't necessarily want to go into this so much because, again, YouTube channel or YouTube platform, Instagram, those larger social media platforms they're going to be under the gun even more so than they are now. That's also something that, as I'm seeing as I'm pulling the charts, they're going to start changing a lot. Each one of us individually, chances are we're going to start pulling away from social media. I personally have friends that are running their businesses using social media and Instagram, things like that, YouTube, et cetera, et cetera. I've been saying from day one, thank you guys so much for the super chats, by the way. I've been saying from day one, way when I knew them, when we started developing our relationships and I started getting more, which was the best blessing of social media. I started finding more like-minded souls and spirits who were kind of doing similar things as me. I started telling them, they're like, Jess, how do I prepare for my career? How do I prepare for my work? I said, make sure that you are not in one spot and that you are not on like a website like Etsy. When I started telling my friends and my clients, mostly my friends though at the time, because when I first started in astrology, I don't know what it was, but everybody was asking me about love relationships, which I love, by the way. No hate to that, no shade. No one was asking about their business. And I think that back then, no one really thought that you could even have a stable income doing something that you love, especially sharing your gifts. So at that time, a lot of people were, if they did have small businesses, they were on Etsy, but they weren't focusing on, especially women, we were not focusing on our money. I was, but I just noticed that a lot of people weren't asking about that. And even brands like Etsy and et cetera, in social media, I could see that they were going to start getting squeezed out. And we're going to continue to see that. Life as we know it, as a whole, and I'm just going to start off with, for those of you guys who are just like, what the hell is she talking about? I'm going big transits first, and then we'll start narrowing down into the tinier stuff that's going to impact you and your personal relationships, your relationship with yourself, job potentials, things like that, things that may impact you in a more intimate way. But right now, let's look at the grand scale, the larger scale. So social media businesses, those types of things, you have to be really careful because those areas are under the gun right now. They're not going to last, and if they do last, they're not going to look like the way that they always did. In fact, we're already starting to see how Facebook, and I don't know, is it Facebook, Instagram, they started changing even things that they started implementing, saying like, this is what we want to do, or this is how we're going to do it, they started backtracking really, really quickly. So go ahead and start preparing and planning for that. What you want to do is you want to start build. If you're someone who has a business that's on social media or platforms like that, make sure that you have newsletters, make sure that you're showing up in different areas, make sure that you are remaining authentic to you. You can watch what everybody else is doing on social media if you're even paying attention. But at the end of the day, authenticity is going to shine the most because people are tired of being sold to. They're tired of having products and merchandise shoved down their throat. I totally understand. I totally get it. I myself can't stand it. So make sure that you're shining, or at least you're discovering the things that make you unique. For example, like I was just telling you guys, one thing that I am so good at that it's almost bad, meaning like it gets me into trouble, my mouth. You'll always know where the fuck I'm at because of my mouth. There's no sugarcoating shit with me. You know where you stand with me. I will be the first one to give you, tell it like it is. This is what you can expect. Don't surprise me. I won't surprise you. We're good. And also astrology is my passion, but it's also my obsession. It's something that I've spent almost my entire life, guys. And I know I look young, but I'm 35 years old. 35, well, it hasn't been 35 years, but damn near a long time studying astrology. When we put all of those pieces together, what you will find is the truth, always and forever. The whole of the internet and social media could be talking about one thing when it comes to the full moons and the new moons and Pluto transits and whatever. I'll tell you and break it down, meat and potatoes. This is what you can expect. This is how you can plan for good or for bad, because I don't believe that there is good or bad. I just say it is what it is. And when you know how to react to it. You know how to work with those planets. So that's one way that I really want you guys to prepare. Number two, I don't care how much money you have in your bank account. I don't care. I hope that you have enough to have stability, something that brings you peace, something that gives you freedom, something that provides comfort, something that gives you good health care. I hope and I set intention that every single person on here has all of their human needs being met and then some, so that you are able to live a very comfortable life here on earth. Me too. But having said that, financially, things are really going to, and have been, and I've been saying this, things are going to financially get very tricky. This is not something that we can control. It's not something that you should be fearful about. It's something that you should be preparing for, planning for, and that you know what to expect. So when it's happening, as it's happening, you're not like one of those knuckleheads that's running around on this earth, losing their minds, setting things on fire, and making a bad situation already worse. The best thing that we can do as intuitive beings is make sure that we are not getting sucked up into the chaos of what the rest of the world is doing. We can't do that. You want to know why? Because the truth is that the majority of you are active leaders. Whether you want to be or not, you're leading in some major way. And the way to be a good leader is to make sure that you're not following the masses, acting like a lemming and jumping off the cliff as soon as you start seeing things that strike you or bring fear to you. It is natural for us as human beings to have fear. It signals that there's change doing something. What that something is different for everybody. In this case, when it comes to banks, financial institutions, you better believe that regardless of how much you're spending or what you have in your bank, it's not going to be 100% secure. Every single one of us is going to be feeling that. It's not just here. Well, I'm in the United States. It's not just here in the United States. It's everywhere else in the rest of the globe. I'm just speaking from the United States perspective right now because this is where I live. We're really starting to see that. But if you haven't seen that wherever you're from, then just go ahead and start to prepare for it. What do you do when this happens? I don't think that, and everybody listen to your own intuition. I'm not your financial advisor. I'm your astrologer. I do have clients that I work with in order, I give my predictions. There's very few, but I've had some for years, one in particular for years, where I give them my predictions and they bring their plans to their financial advisors, to their accountants, et cetera, in order to secure their nest egg, in order to work on stock There's stock exchange type of stuff and dealings, and also real estate and the housing market type of situations, renting, et cetera, et cetera. I do have clients that I work with on a consistent basis. It's not like an every year thing, because those sessions usually last anywhere between 5 to 6 years, where the plans that we make, they plant their seeds, they adjust accordingly, and then they watch their investments kind of grow, or they freeze things up or move things around so that they're not being negatively impacted in a way that could take more out of their mouth than they're gaining, which sometimes that happens. Sometimes you just have to ride those waves. So again, I'm not your financial advisor. I'm your astrologer. And again, I'm not looking at your personal chart. So everyone's path is going to be different. But whatever this means for you, I would advise that you start reserving your resources and whatever that looks like for you, regardless of what your financial situation looks like. If you're a multimillionaire, if you are working a 9 to 5, living paycheck to paycheck, all of our energies should kind of be similar in the fact that let's cut down in our splurging, and let's cut down on bigger institutions and start putting our resources in things that can protect us in the long haul. For those of you guys that are asking, Jess, well, what are you doing? What is your plan? Me personally, when I bought my house, when I bought my homestead, I knew that I wanted to begin to teach myself, or at least give myself more resources that would allow me to be more self-reliant as far as I could. I started learning how to harvest water. I started learning how to grow crops. I've got my chickens. I had all of those things secured. The day that I bought my house and the day that I moved into my house, I had already started building into that, because I could see from the charts that things were going to swing up and they were going to swing down. Not only in our ability to have resources like food, which we saw that shortly after I bought my house 2 years ago. This was before we had this crazy swing in food availability. Eggs are insane price. I don't have to pay for that. I don't even want to go into the details of what I'm doing on my end, because that's another topic. I'll talk to you guys about that on Queen Bee Homestead Co. So feel free to follow me on Instagram for that, because that's just more of my life there. But I had already started preparing, even with the housing market. I knew that if I waited too long, I would miss a golden opportunity. Also, for those of you guys that are waiting for more golden opportunities, and you do have resources that you've been holding on to, almost hoarding them, waiting for the right opportunity, you're going to have that. As soon as we're getting deeper into more recession-like energy, this is when regular people, regular schmegula, that's what I call them, you and me, or him and they, I don't know, you turn into millionaires overnight. But if I were you, when you see these opportunities kind of showing up, I would be very, very careful. I would be very, very careful. I would use a lot of discernment. I would do my background knowledge on where those houses are coming from, not only the history of the house, but if you can get any information on the homeowners that came before that, because there is mental and emotional instability that we can see within the charts here as well. There's a lot of deception and a lot of things that can twist into really crazy stories. So if you're going to swoop in on, and I'm not here to judge, I'm just keeping it 100 with you guys. If you're going to swoop in on properties or anything like that, or whatever the case is, don't. And I'm not trying to tell you what to do, because we all have different paths. I'm just saying that these are some things that I'm seeing within the chart, and I'm sharing this for you. If it's something that, let's say you want to buy a home, you can find a home. Make sure that the place that you're going, that you're doing your due diligence, you're doing your background search a little bit more than you would. It's more than just the foundation of the home or the foundation of this new place. It's also the history, the homeowners. If you can find out how long they've been there, what their stories are like, it's going to do you more good than harm in order to show in informed. That way you can at least know what you're getting to, because there's a lot of wonky, wobbly energy in the astrological charts, a lot of secrets. And I would prefer that when it comes to investing, when it comes to money, that you are wise, that you are seeing all that you can see. Having said that, on a grand scale of things, on a larger scale of things, when it comes to businesses, finances, banks, etc., there is a lot more going on than meets the eye. Just like how I was telling you guys about secrets and things that are hidden and things that we can't see, the very same things are happening within these larger institutions. We are all under the same umbrella of planets and energies. So you better believe that whatever information is being shared here on the news or information, whatever information source that you're getting your news from, I promise you, not even they have the whole full story. So having said that, what do? You use your own discernment. You not pick and choose what information, but you make sure that you are not someone who's trusting everything. And also, I will say that rumors, and any other time in history, rumors can be problematic. At this moment in history, rumors can tell a lot of the story if you're interested in listening, hearing, finding out. That's if you're interested. Me personally, I just kind of sense the energy. I sense the vibe. If it's off and I'm not invested in it, you won't see me kind of staying in it too much. Okay. When it comes to your personal life, this is something I want to talk to you guys. Oh, wait. Oh, does it say it keeps lagging? I'm so sorry, guys. The internet's a little weird here. Okay. R sent a super chat and says, what transits are good for physical healing? All transits. To me, there's no bad time for physical healing. There's always going to be a good time for physical healing. Just be gentle and easy with yourself. Maureen says, don't forget to like and share the love. Yes, thank you guys. There's about 700 people in here, and I saw about 1,000 to start, and about just under 350 likes. So if you guys can go ahead and give this video a thumbs up, we're about 30 minutes into it, halfway there. So if you guys could give this video a thumbs up, this would definitely be beneficial. Also, if you want to take a screenshot and share that you are tuning in and that this is helpful or beneficial to you in any way, shape, or form, I want to thank you. Literally from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank you. YouTube platforms, social media platforms, the platform itself, and also the viewers don't tend to gravitate towards a person like me or my own wisdom. They kind of skim over me sometimes. I don't get my feelings hurt, but your support and your love and you showing that this is valuable to you is valuable to me, and it makes my brand a little easier and kind of go a little further than it could ever go if it was just my hard work alone. You guys' efforts and you sharing messages that I'm sharing and the time that we're sharing together is definitely very, 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 very helpful to me and all that I am. Okay. So I want to catch up on some of these comments real quick. And then we are going to talk about your more intimate life. And then like what you can expect in your intimate life, meaning relationships, your relationship with yourself, et cetera, et cetera. And then I do have a channeled message that I want to share with you guys very, very quickly. Okay. Vicky says, I love you. I believe so much in stars and spirituality. You're my favorite bruja. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate you so much. Teresa says, we appreciate your dedication, Jess, sending you love and light. Thank you, my love. It says, you're my soul sister, tribe, so healing. You're my soul sister. I don't know why I can't read today. So healing. Oh, I love teaching my daughter about everything you share. Thank you so much. The Martian Empress says, can you make more videos on your homestead and growing? Actually, yes, I would love to. She says, I know I'm supposed to start a garden of herbs, fruits, and veggies and would love to see your process. So it's kind of tough, but because I balance a lot in my life, like a lot, I don't even know how I do it. But one thing that I will recommend is making sure that you check out your area zone, like your zone area, and that you're buying plants and vegetation that is native to your area. That's going to make gardening way more easier for you. Also, herbs are some of the hardest things to grow. Except for me and lavender. I actually do a really good job with lavender, probably because it's ruled by Mercury and so am I. But Herbs, I wouldn't start with herbs because herbs require a lot of effort, even though they reward. I would start with something that you genuinely like a fruit or a vegetable. I would start there, or even like a simple plant, and just start learning its temperaments. Start watching how the leaves kind of, and use what you have. Homesteading really is about the latest and the greatest. If you go to the grocery store and you love cherry tomatoes, which I love cherry tomatoes, save those seeds, start germinating them, try to get them growing, and then put them in the dirt. The same things that you're eating that you would naturally gravitate towards are the same things that you can start growing in a windowsill, on a patio. I remember when I was living in Philadelphia, I had plants on the emergency escape, the fire escape out back. It's just, you do what you can. Okay, Stephanie says, I love you, Jess. I love you more. Elise says, I can't wait to rewatch this. Absolutely. Oh, Lisa Mack says, basil grows crazy for me. Girl, good for you. Basil can be tough. I always put it in the wrong spot. That's the other thing too. Plants are really, sometimes can be really tough as far as where you put them. But anyways, I say all this. I could talk about homesteading since forever, but yeah, feel free to follow me on, if you guys are interested in homesteading, my homesteading adventures, my homesteading life. Also, I have body butters there that I whip up because I hate lotion. Like, not that I don't like it. I wish I could like it. I just feel that our society has like a lot of lotions with chemicals in it and a lot of beauty products with chemicals in it. So I tend to want, like, on my body, all natural oils, herbs, etc., etc. And also the spring blends are going to drop soon. And that's Queen Bee Homestead Co. on Body Life, but also queenbeehomesteadco.com. Yeah, go ahead and check that out. All right, guys. Oh, Ronnie T says rosemary is the easiest herb. It is kind of easy, but for me, lavender just explodes. It always has, ever since I was a child. My mom allowed me to make my own garden and to tend to it. And I remember my vines, I had this passion flower vine. That thing would take off. My mom would be like, I don't understand how you do it. And I always used to tell her, I said, Mom, plants have wisdom, and plants were here before we were. And all I do is just make sure that they're good, that as long as they are telling me what they need and I can give it to them, then they don't need me. When it's all said and done and the earth has gone through everything that she's gone through, the first thing that's going to come back are the plants. Life will grow. Life will grow. So as long as we're following the rules of the plants, then we will be good. Okay, guys, are we ready to talk about more personal, intimate lives, what you can expect, and also this week, again, because there is a lot. I'm leaving the personal life things towards the end of our chat because I feel like it's like an itch that is, you can't ignore it. You can't avoid it. Like, you can see things going on in the whole world, but you can turn the TV off. But if it's your personal life, it's something that you have to scratch. Like, it's an itch you have to scratch. Okay. Yes. Leah Love says we can go off on tangents. Oh, yes, we can. If there's one thing I'm good for, it's going off on a tangent. Okay. First things first, you guys, and if you guys see me looking down or looking in front of me, I have my iPad here. I also have my notes. Mars and Mercury are going through a doozy right now. Mars particularly has been transiting through the sign Gemini and has been adding a lot of agitation, exploration, conversation, whether we want to or not, into our daily lives. This can create the element of fun and joy and like spontaneous trips, spontaneous things that you try to plan, adventures and things that you want to go on. Maybe you're starting to think, maybe going back to school is a good thing. Maybe studying this is something that I want to do. Maybe this is something that I want to explore. Another way that this transit can show up is it can bring a lot of irritability and also kind of tough conversations that really reveal to you where you're going, where someone's head is at, where someone's mind is at by their intentions. How are they moving? It's one thing to be someone who says, this is who I am. This is what I want. This is what I want for us. This is what I'm working towards. And it's another thing to see the actual actions of that. When you start to see that there is an imbalance between someone's, or even your like excitement and enthusiasm in order to launch something or spark something or get something going, but then it fizzles out, or you lose your attention span, kind of dissolves. These are things that, it's not that you can't take it seriously. It's just that this is a time for brainstorming. This is a time for exploration. This is a time for asking questions and being curious. In your personal life, I don't think that you can find you, others, or energy really kind of cementing itself down right now. Why? Because astrologically speaking, there's not ever, a lot of these planets are changing, or they're initiating the change, or they're just totally open to being changed. Like you tell me what to do and I will go along with you. I'm not here to stop the plan. So if that's what the planets are doing, you kind of have to go along with that energy, or be the person who is quote unquote manipulating it. By manipulating it, I don't mean manipulation in a bad way, meaning like sometimes in our society, we look at the word manipulation and we'll be like, oh, this person is trying to take advantage of a situation. No, manipulation is what you do in order to get your intention to occur, to happen. And if you have good intentions, then it's kind of a good thing to have someone show up and say, look, I'm trying to show you, I'm trying to not manipulate, but I'm trying to lead you into this area. So you now get to decide, in this area or in all areas of your life, or what areas of my life am I supposed to be open to change, or am I supposed to be initiating the change? How do you show up? This is an excellent journaling activity, where you can ask yourself those very questions and start exploring how you show up in your career, in your relationships, in your health, your path in life, because I guarantee you your path is starting to change. Not only am I seeing it in astrologically, but I'm also feeling it and sensing it intuitively. I think it was 2 or 3 Astro Chat lives ago, I was talking to you guys about growth. I know that a lot of people wanted to talk about astrology, but we needed to talk about growth, how things are starting to change and shift, because it's important. The planets right now are growing in different directions. There's a lot of growth that's happening. It's important that we talk about growth. It's important that we comfortable with growth. So that message was very, very, very important for me to share with you guys. Okay. The other thing that I want to talk to you guys about is the fact that Mercury is really trying to get to the trying to get to the root of the truth. Mercury represents our ability to communicate, our desire for communication. But the thing is, and I'm looking at the chart right now, I don't know if you guys can see this. I'm using astro.com. They don't sponsor this video. Oh, the sound is off. No. Is it really? Of course it's messing up. Okay, guys, I'm going to continue carrying forward. But if it gets weird or wonky, you can always catch it on the replay. Okay, yeah. Oh, the sound is gone? Really? Okay. All right. For some of you guys, it's fine. And for others of you guys, it's okay. Okay. Yes, I see some of you guys saying you can hear me. Okay. Also, we have about 1,000 people in here, so that might influence. Anytime we get into the thousands and stuff like that, it starts getting weird. But okay, so Mercury, the planet of communication, speaking of communication, things get really wonky and weird. Intentions get misconstrued. It's easy to be lied to. It's easy to be led astray. It's easy to have your faith and your path questioned. Why? Because Mercury, the planet that rules our mind and our ability to process information, is literally sitting directly on top of Neptune, the planet that rules illusion and fantasy. So this means that our brains are not able to logically focus on the path. We're not able to always find our way in a way that makes sense. We're not really able to find solutions. We can't really find solutions to conversations that we're having with our partners, with our friends, with our family. We can have our ability to focus might be drifting off. That's one thing that we'll be dealing with. Instead of leaning on our logic and leaning on our reasoning and leaning on common sense, which I don't know about you, but I was raised in an environment where my family would be like, use your common sense. This is one of those transits where common sense goes right out the window. Like, it goes right out the window. So what do? You don't lean on those things. There's a time and place for that, but now's not the time. We're going to start to lean more into our intuitive feelings. How does this make me feel? The one benefit that I can tell you guys that's going to be very, very helpful for you and very, very beneficial to you is that as Mercury, the Sun, and Neptune get closer in a conjunction with each other, which they will later on at the end of this week, you can use this time. Well, honestly, you can use all of this time to learn how to be more empathetic to the needs of others and also to the needs of yourself. Also, you can really discover through how things feel, the vibe of the chemistry of your body, the chemistry of your heart. How is your brain processing things? Are you feeling peaceful? Instead of you saying like, okay, well, when you tell your friends, this is what happened, blah, 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 and you're telling your friends and they're like, okay, this person ain't shit because along my checklist, common sense tells me that this ain't right. This is one of those times where the best thing to do is to not go down that checklist or try to find reasoning. You have to sit within yourself and say, I know that on paper it might look a certain way, but intuitively my feelings are telling me otherwise. My intuitive feelings, my intuition is leading me to think otherwise. I have to trust that. As these planets are transiting and as they're getting closer to this conjunction towards the end of the week, you're going to really need to rely on that when you start seeing arguments, instability, things just not striving, like working out, when the path starts getting tricky. For some of you guys, the same things that you've set goals towards, the same things that you set your heart and your mind towards, this is one of those times in the week where you will start questioning yourself, asking yourself, is this even going to happen? Like, can this happen? Can I actually see this growing? Is this actually something that it can thrive? These are things where the same things that you thought that you wanted that maybe could last forever, now it's being called into question. And the way to work with this is to fall within yourself and start asking yourself those questions inside of yourself. Intuitively, how does this make me feel usually? Is this a vibe? Is this energy feel good for me? Is there a secret that it is that I'm keeping? Is there something that I should be sharing? These are things that you can start to explore along with being sympathetic and empathetic to hearing others. As Mars is transiting through the sign of Gemini, it can be really tough to sit still long enough to have those difficult conversations. But I'm telling you that it's going to be beneficial for the long haul. Okay. Whew. Okay. The last thing I want to say to you guys, or one of the last things I want to say to you guys, is Mercury is going to be entering into the sign of Aries. This is going to be happening on the 19th, and Venus is going to enter into the sign of Taurus on the 16th. So this is all this week. For those of you guys that have been asking me, Jess, when is a good time to launch a business? When is a good time to launch a new project? When should I be looking for opportunities? Number one, you should be listening to your own intuition and looking at your own internal divine timing. Number two, there is always a good time usually in order to launch a business, even when planets are retrograde. When they go back retrograde, this is the opportunity for you to kind of adjust what you have. Now that you've launched, what do you now need to make you successful? I don't hate retrogrades. I was actually born with a lot of retrogrades in my chart. So when I see a retrograde cycle or stage that we're like edging ourselves up towards, like we're creeping up on it in the day and age, I will look at it and I'll be like, oh, perfect. This is exactly what it is that I need. Instead of throwing out this new thing, I'm probably going to take this time to maybe take a vacation, fall back, or reassess. And if there's one thing about me as a Virgo that I'm going to do, and as a business owner, and as someone who is constantly learning and growing and striving for growth, I will tweak as needed, as necessary. And I want to encourage you guys to do the same thing. So always, if you feel called in your spirit to launch that business or to search for jobs, do it. Absolutely do it. You can tweak certain things about your resume, but for the most part, if there's opportunities that really look good for you and that you're being encouraged, you feel called towards, there's no such thing as bad timing. There is divine timing. Divine timing is always at works, and divine timing is different for every single individual. So having said that, listen to your own intuition. But as Venus is entering into the sign of Taurus again on the 16th, and as Mercury is entering into the sign of Aries on the 19th, these are the personal planets that will give us the push, the ambition, the stubbornness, the fire, the tenacity that we need in order to launch any type of adventure, new or old, any type of adventure. Some of you guys are going to really start to take yourself seriously, or take certain things around you very seriously. Let's say it's a relationship. Let's say it's a goal, a goal that you have for yourself. You really will start to say, listen, I am locking into this. This is what I want. This is what I'm attracted to. At first, you might be like building up the energy, building up the, like, all of the tenacity that you need, but and exploring all these different options. Absolutely, because that's what Mars transiting through Gemini will do. But these planets right now, Mars in particular, is squaring off with the sun. Mars is squaring off with, I almost cursed. I'm trying not to curse right now. Mars is squaring off with Neptune. What else do we have here? Mars is trine Saturn all this week. So there's a lot of, Mars is squaring off with Mercury. So there's a lot of irritation in the planets that's causing, I don't want to say unnecessary arguments and unnecessary conversations or thoughts that are like bubbling up within you. They're things that are there for a reason. They serve a very distinct purpose. It's in your best interest to show up and to be curious, to ask questions, to learn as much as it is that you can. And then later on down the line of this week, then you can start solidifying these plans, really marching towards that goal, knowing who and what it is that you want and what is it you're about, and then not turning back. No turning back. Okay? Because the planets, they will retrograde, but not for a little while. And for the most part, this will give you just enough gung-ho, just enough energy in order to spark something, initiate something. But chances are it's going to come through a lot of tension. It's going to reveal to you a lot about yourself, a lot about others. And if I were you, I would lean into empathetic feelings, right? Try to listen to someone else's perspective. Try to take someone else into consideration, especially if you're in a relationship. It's sometimes there's this need to kind of with Saturn, with Pisces energy here, with Saturn in Pisces, Mercury in Pisces, Sun in Pisces, Neptune in Pisces. You and they, if you're in a relationship, the boundaries kind of get blurred. So even though your intention might be good, I have your intentions like at heart, like in the best intentions for you. The truth is that if you're not asking enough questions to hear your partner and to hear their story, to understand them better, to go gain closer to them when it comes to intimacy, why are they like this? Why does this trigger them? Why does this make them happy? Why is this a no-fly zone? You want to start asking those questions instead of automatically assuming that you know everything about them, that they know everything about you, and then start gaining closer to like really truly understanding each other. And this means that you have to dissolve the ego, allow yourself to be vulnerably seen. You can't with Mars transiting through the sign of Gemini, It can be very quick. It can be very irritable, very quick to snap and to say certain things. These are things that, even though you're combating, like it'll be a battle within you, try not to lean in that. You want to be more sympathetic and empathetic, and selfless, because Pisces energy is very, very selfless. And if you can't put yourself in someone else's shoes, whether it's an intimate relationship or a friendship, platonic relationship, or family, then that's where, again, your discernment will probably most likely say, this is where I draw the line and this is my boundary. Because regardless of what you're saying and regardless of what you want, you clearly are not seeing and hearing me as a person, as an individual. And I cannot allow myself to be infused into something, whatever that thing is, and allow my identity or allow my healing or allow my health, my happiness, my joy, my vibrancy, my business plans, my path, my purpose to be influenced and underappreciated at this point in my life. And that's a whole word right there. So it's interesting how the same things that could be a blessing are the same things that can create a lot of conflict and a lot of growth, like a lot of inspiration to grow. And that can be really, really tough to go through. But I believe that you got it. I believe that you got it. Okay. So thank you guys so much. We're not done. We're at 56 minutes, but I do have one intuitive message that I want to share. It's a channeled message that I wrote down. So I'm going to pull my notebook a little closer to me. Yeah. Oh, this is a Hottie Life notebook, by the way. So cute. But I'm going to pull my notebook a little close to me. I do want to say that before I dive into the intuitive message, and then we're going to close out, that I did open up the shop for custom oils for those of you guys that are trying to work your magic, set intentions, create something really special for you. You guys have been asking for tarot magic oils. Those custom oils, they are actually open. I put a little sliver on the website, so I'll be working with you guys on that. Same thing with natal chart oils. So this is where you put in your natal chart information, meaning your birth date, your birth time, your birth location. I will look over it. I will peruse your chart, and I will create a blend that matches your energy that will help you to be successful and create a blessing for you particularly. Also, if there's something specific that you want to set intention for in your life, through oils, intention oils or fixed candles, that is available for you. I just linked it in my Instagram story if you guys want to check it out. Okay. Now, and then also this video is sponsored by Queen Bee Homestead, which is my sister site. Also be mindful and aware of scam artist type of people who are trying to offer readings and use photos of me and my family, me as a child, in order to pray. Are you feeling kind of moody? Oh, look who it is. Eliza Kelly at the top of my thing. I'm going to heart that. She's a gem, by the way. If you guys aren't following her, definitely do that. She's definitely a vibe. Also, Little Gypsy is here at the top of my screen too. She's so cute. Okay, guys. Oh, and Wisdom and Light. Love her too. Okay, guys. Those are my people. All right. So anyways, one message that I want to share with you guys is that, get used to things. Oh, thank you, the Cosmic Conjurers. You put down the thing. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate that. Yes. Okay. Really appreciate that. Okay. Get used to things not being what you expected them to be. The intuitive message that I pulled and the intuitive message that I'm feeling is that it makes a lot of sense. Everything that you think that you can expect in your day-to-day life, expect the unexpected, not in the sense of preparing for surprises or erratic deviations from your normal day-to-day life in a way that just completely stuns you. Spirit is trying to lead every single one of us to be in a space where we are abundantly open to the change that is happening. The reason why is because for a very, 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 very long, overly long time frame in our entire world, the powers that be and the foundation of all of our different societies all over the world has been operating in a way that has not been healthy, that has not been helpful to all of humanity. That is not the way that it has to be. It's not the way that it should be. And when a divine plan is at work in order to make things more fair and balanced for all of humanity and all of humankind, we have to learn how to let go of the old normal, because the old normal had people starving, had people committing the S word, had murder, all types of acts of incredible violation that should never be a reflection of humanity, and yet here they have been. The crazy stories that we hear on the news don't even shock us anymore. That's how bad our normal has become. When we, as people in our in humanity, like living on Earth, when we see that there are people on Earth where there are starving, there's droughts, there's famine, there's dirty water, they can't drink the water, there are children dying. When we see that and we accept that as normal, when there are other places on the earth where there is fresh food, fresh water, and fresh resources, something has to change, something has to shift. And the way that things are is not a reflection of the ultimate divine plan. A lot of people's faith and spirituality and hope in a divine plan, and even hope in humanity, gets questioned. They question it because they say, well, if there was a God or if there was a divine plan to this, there wouldn't be people starving, there wouldn't be people hurting, there wouldn't be these acts of incredible like violence, things that don't make sense. How do you say that? If there was a gracious, kind, loving creator, or if there was gracious, kind, loving energy on our earth, how could that, if that exists, how could this exist? And the truth is that for the longest time, the powers that be, the foundation of our societies, more than one, all over the earth, did not have everybody's best interest at heart. And when you start to make this as a normal, and when people are actively all over the world getting violated in ways that they don't even know that they're being violated, or when they are being desecrated, when there's all of these crazy things that are happening, or when your society is locked into produce, perform, show up in this way, consume. When that's the way that our society looks, and that's what we grow to expect, anything that deviates away from that will strike fear into your heart. When the truth is that you already, if you sat still long enough, you would know, you would sense that the way things are, the way things have always been, is not the way that it should be. It's not the way that it should be. If it was fair, and if we were actually looking out for each other, there wouldn't be all this suffering. You wouldn't have people feeling inspired to do awful things to each other because their family dynamics, or because their mental health and emotional well-being has been eating away generation after generation after generation after generation after generation, and then there's a continuing energy of snapping. That is not a normal that we should have ever adjusted to. So now when we start seeing the breaking down of these foundations, these huge foundations that have ruled our society, we cannot panic. We have to go back to the simplest source, which is the same source that I've been telling you guys to look for the entire time. Every single one of us is born with intuition, but following that intuition and strengthening that intuition is started to become a rare form, because it requires you to trust yourself. It requires you to self-explore. It requires a lot of pain. It requires a lot of work. It requires a lot of revelation, a disconnection. It requires so much from us. And even in the spirituality community, we struggle with it, because this means that we have to separate ourselves from our friends. And that even in the spirituality community, you look in the comments and you'll see the judgment of one person to the other. Oh, you're not vegan, you're not spiritual enough. Oh, you don't walk barefoot on the earth, you're not spiritual enough. You wear leather, not spiritual enough. We get it. Every path though is different. And the truth is that we have to get closer and closer and closer to this divine source energy that is non-judgmental, that is completely compassionate, that is authentically living its purpose in a way that works for them. None of us have the answers. We're all meant to rely on each other. We all have gifts we can share. There should be resources for everybody, but the truth is that the same situations that make us feel like shit about ourselves and encourage us to show up in ways that are not healthy for human beings to show up are the same things that are profiting off of our earth and our planet, violating the animals here, and violating us. They don't have the best interest for our humanity or our earth or the future of mankind, because they're not the ones who are going to be here when it all crashes and burns. We are. So when we start seeing transits like this that are starting to shift into, get ready for radical change, instead of being scared, I want to see you guys get more curious and more innovative and more inventive and more explorative. I want you to challenge your day to day, every single day when you wake up. I want you to say to yourself, I'm going to walk my own path. I know that the path to success was a story that was sold to me that says it can only look this way. I have to grind. I have to wear myself down. I have to beat myself up. My life patterns have not been a reflection of the love that I should have for myself. They reflect the emptiness that has been a part of me, because there's nothing in the society and there's nothing in this world that tells me consistently that me as a human being has always been good enough. I've always been worth it. There's everything that says I have to change this, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to consume, I have to produce, and if not, I'm nothing. When the truth is at the moment that you entered this earth, you were good enough, you are good enough, you have something to give, you have so much to gain, and that there's so many things around you